So there's a difference between forced diversity and natural diversity. If you have a game like, oh, I don't know, Tekken or Street Fighter or something like that, Mortal Kombat, where you have a game that takes characters from all over the world and puts them against each other in a fighting style game, that makes sense because so many cultures and you have their own fighting styles and this and that, so it makes sense. If you take a game and have it take place in like San Francisco or New York or something like that, diversity makes sense because those places are naturally diverse. If you take a game and set it in like, oh, I don't know, like Poland or something, and then like 2 out of every 5, 10 characters are black, that makes no sense whatsoever. If you take a game taking place in ancient China, and it's based on ancient Chinese myths, having diversity makes no sense. But this is something that China knows, Korea knows, because they both put out really good games. Black Wukong, 2.6 million players, like the first day or so, as opposed to DEI bullshit. Concord, it's August 28th, 660. Dustborn, less than 100. But yet people keep telling us that gamers are clamoring for DEI. They want DEI. Apparently not, because these games are made to be diverse. Look at Dustborn. Every one of the 4 characters that you play as in the game, you got strong black female, the overweight, like, non-binary, the they, them, the cuck. Diverse. 100 players. Less than 100 players. People don't want diversity in their games anymore. They're tired of it. Like I said, taking a game like Black Wukong and trying to say, oh, well, there's no diversity or inclusion. It takes place in ancient China. You're not going to find any diversity back there, my friend. Okay, you're not. If you say we're going to take a game and set it in like freaking Poland or Norway, you're not going to find diversity there, but then making characters intentionally diverse makes no sense. But Bandai Namco all in on DEI after learning about it from Western media. I realize that not being represented may nullify a person's existence, even to the point of discrimination. No, it doesn't. Shut the hell up. Japan excels at a lot of things, but Japan is kind of like Nintendo's handhelds, usually a couple years behind. A Bandai Namco rep has confirmed that after learning about the creativity killing concepts from various Western audience sources, the Japan-based video game developer is fully dedicated to promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion within their games. This turn for the developer of the Tekken, very diverse because again, natural diversity. Super Robot Wars and Pac-Man franchises was revealed courtesy of a presentation given by a representative from their quality assurance department, Okuma Mirai, during the 2024 entry of the annual Computer Entertainment Developers Conference, an annual trade show in which members of the East Asian video game industry come together to discuss the practical aspects of their respective business operations. Can you imagine the things that China and Korea would be saying to Japan? It's like Japan, what are you doing? Oh, Japan. me and China have heard that you want to do DEI. And Japan's like, yeah, well, we think it's really important to to see yourself and for a broader audience. And Korea's like, oh, no, that's cool. That's cool. Because it's worked out well for the West. I mean, and our games are completely failing. We have no diversity in our games, and we're just failing. Oh, wait, no. We have some of the best games so far. You might have heard something from them, a little game called Black Wukong. Yeah. China, how's Black Wukong doing? Oh, it's doing pretty good. Oh, really? How many players? First day, I think it was like 2.6 million. Oh, 2.6 million? Japan. Let's talk about Western games. There's a few games that came out. Concord. How many? Do you know how many people are playing that? Less than 1,000. Uh, China. What other game? Oh yeah, Dustborn. Yeah, Dustborn. You want to know how many people were playing that? Less than 100. But sure, you can keep up with this DEI stuff. Me and China, we're gonna stick to making good games with great gameplay, beautiful women who look like women, and see how your DEI stuff goes. Best of luck. Titled Aiming to be Global in Expression as well as DE&I Initiatives, the panel, per a recap provided by Japanese video game news outlet For Gamer and Machine, translated by Deep L, saw Mirai begin by confirming. I want to look up this person because I have a feeling even though she might be Japanese, it sounds. Actually, I'm curious. All right, so that apparently is Okuma Mirai, who, if she had her eyes open, I'm sure looks like she's suffering from resting bitch face. So, not really surprised that she thinks that doing this is a good idea. Even in Japan, they've got those people are like, oh yeah, let's let in as many people as possible, diversity, equity, inclusion. Who cares about Japan's, rich history and culture and our desire to stay Japan? Who cares? Who cares about creating a quality product that people enjoy? No, let's go into the catering business because it's doing so well for the West. Broaden the scope of our content, expose it to a wider variety of gamers. Because every game that from Japan in the past has just bombed, right? Because Japan has a track record of creating and producing and releasing terrible games that no one wants to play, right? To this end, the QA rep admitted that in order to expand their operations, they must take into consideration the taste of their prospective audiences. And what she has learned from her overseas partners is that DEI is one of, if not the biggest hot issue for Western players. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. People are tired of it. Curiously, Miura, apparently, she's like switching her name, then put forth working definition of DEI that describes it as a state in which diverse individuals are represented and can demonstrate their abilities in a fair environment and under fair conditions. It's a video game. This is what the East and the West are trying to do with DEI bullshit, merge it together, trying to fuse it. But it's... With this in mind, the Bandai Namco rep has argued that while representation and diversity are not legally mandated in Western media productions, the concept must still be given proper weight while developing titles for release outside of Asia, because their inclusion, no pun intended, would make a given game more attractive to set. No, it wouldn't. They're acting like games coming out of Japan are a new thing. No, Japan releases games that are fun and interesting and creative and fun, just fun to play. We don't care about what the people in the game look like. Only miserable individuals. That's like, I'm 6'4", right? Well, these characters, seem to kind of align with what I align with, but They're all short. I can't see myself in them. So, you know, I'm not going to recommend this game because if you're tall, you won't be able to see yourself in these characters because all of them are short. It's ridiculous. In support of her claim, Miura cited an unspecified study from analytics firm Newzoo that found a little over half of British and American. Well, why don't you just throw in French and Canadians in there too? Because you're taking two places that go out of their way to force diversity as much as fucking possible. That they don't care about the repercussions. They just want to look good. They want them brownie points. So, British and American, yeah, we really, really want it. Consider the DEI to be generally important, though to what or who the survey did not specify. Gee, imagine that. It is necessary to consider the most important factors in the content, she said. Interestingly, Miura further noted that DEI was particularly important to Western players. No, it's not. Because according to the same Newzoo survey, they tend to project themselves onto a given video game character far more than... Yeah. Funny how it's only freaking, you know, they bring up, like, British and American players because that's how people are now being programmed. It's like, oh, well, you can't enjoy something unless you see yourself in that person. You can't enjoy this movie unless you can see yourself in it. But what about books? What about books? People have been seeing themselves in books for ages because of imagination. Because people understand that just because a character doesn't look like them doesn't mean they can't relate to them. Lord of the Rings. I've said before, do any of us look like Lord of the Rings characters? No. But it's probably one of the best stories of all time just because of the characters and their development and the struggles they have to go through and what they have to overcome. And we don't have to see ourselves. We're not going to look like Legolas. We don't look like Aragorn or, you know, we're not these beautiful elves or anything. We're humans. And yet we see ourselves in fucking hobbits. In hobbits. You don't need to look like the character to relate to them. I bring this up, like, I think someone pulled up the meme here. Where is it? Yeah, like other countries when it comes to like Goku. Like, that's literally me. Yeah, America. She's just like me. Everyone else. Like, that's literally me. You don't need to see yourself in a character to relate to them. Miura recalled that their experience with DEI began during the development of Blue Protocol, during which a player... I'm sorry, did I read this wrong? In which a player, not players, not players, a player complained that they did not feel represented due to the game's original lack of black hairstyles, of course, in its character creator. I realize that's what diversity means. Not being represented not only means that the demand for self-expression cannot be met, but it also means that we may not be able to imagine the identities of many of the players. Shut the fuck up. Learning about what diversity means, she then dedicated herself to learning how to apply the concept to Bandai Namco games. Also, I think there was something about that too. Yeah. All right, this is precisely the message Bandai should be should be preaching, following the spectacular failure of the DEI censored Trash Blue protocol, which single-handedly made Bandai Online become insolvent. So when you cater to people, that's when things fail. Instead of catering to a small group of people, you should be worried about the mass amount. Again, 99% of people do not give a flying fuck about representation and inclusivity. You shouldn't be catering to that 1%. Dustborn, same thing, diverse, very diverse. I mean, you have a game where the main characters are a strong black woman, fat but non-binary, skinny they them, and a cuck. Less than 100 players. Less than 100 players. The game's released on Steam. Millions upon millions of people, and less than 100 people are playing it. Same thing. I've shown the characters off in this game. You have the fat black Robotnik. You have the fat looking Sonic the Hedgehog lookalike. And all these other characters. Less than 1,000. Less than 1,000. People are not clamoring for DEI. They're not. Again, there's forced DEI and natural DEI. Natural diversity and forced diversity. Fighting games would make sense, but when you make them as ugly as the fucking Concord ones are, oh yeah, all our women, yeah, they look like dudes. All our dudes are dudes, so it's basically a game full of dudes. But diversity makes sense when it, again, if it takes place in San Francisco, but if it takes place in China or a place like Poland or Norway, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You're taking a place that's pretty much white, but then, oh, well, we want to cater to a small niche group of people, so we're going to insert black characters in there for no reason, just so they feel represented. Even though it's taking place in a part of the world that's all white. It makes no sense. And that is what these people have failed to understand. So if Bandai Namco wants to go down that route, I think there was another one here. Where is it? No one wants to play as a chubby, sunburnt man with gout. They want to play as an immortal monkey, sexy android, assassin, and dishonor samurai. I saw it. Where was it? Watch them turn Goku black. That man is in black. He is now. Nullifying people's existence in fictitious content is necessary for the progression of content and paychecks. Well, I guess fuck Bandai Namco then. Yeah, that's literally me. For fuck's sake, Dragon Ball is one of the most beloved IPs not infested with woke bullshit. There's a reason this meme exists. Yeah. They don't understand their audience. Yeah, that's... I mean, Tekken is already diverse. Because it makes sense. Japan caught the stupid. But, again, it's like I said, Japan, like Nintendo handhelds, are always a few years behind. If they want to try their hand at this fucking DEI bullshit, go ahead. Meanwhile, China and Korea, they'll be focusing on making games that are fun. Games that have great gameplay, story, great characters. So while you're pushing your diversity, equity, inclusion, they'll just be making good games. Well, Western found it out, slowly but surely. Now it's Japan's turn. You want to go for a DEI? Go ahead. And then when you start losing money, because you will, you have no one to blame but yourselves. And this dumb bitch with resting bitch face right here. But anyway, what do we know, right? We're just the people who buy the games. You know, we're just the people who support the IPs. What do we know? What do we know? Anyway, that's going to do for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.